Hi, this is John with the Baptiste Realty Group. Today I want to talk to you about the 15 things you should know before buying a home. Number one, budget. What's your budget? It's a very important question. One, we wouldn't want to take you to go see homes that may not fit into your budget. There's a lot more that goes into buying a home than just paying the mortgage. You have to think about paying taxes and insurance, potentially an HOA, and just the general upkeep of owning a home. You won't be able to call that maintenance man. You have to call your own handyman and pay for them. Initially, what you'd like to do is get a pre-approval from your bank. This will let you know how much money the bank is willing to lend you. Ultimately, though, in today's hot sellers market, what you'll need is a pre-qualification letter, which tells the seller that you've taken that next step where the bank has verified your financial information and has confirmed how much money they'll lend you to purchase the home. Number two, is the property in a flood zone or prone to any other natural disasters? This is extremely important because this could cost you more out your pocket because you may have to pay for flood insurance. To check FEMA's flood zone map before making the purchase. And as an example, if you're in California, as we all know, they're prone to earthquakes and you might need earthquake insurance. So make sure that you're properly insured. Make sure you know if the property is in a flood zone. This way you can save yourself the added expense in case that disaster does come. Today we're going to look at number three. Why is the seller selling? You might ask yourself, well, what's important about the reason the seller is selling? That can be a negotiating tool for us. So if we know that the seller has to sell, they've got a job transfer and they need to move immediately, they may be more prone to sell for a lower price. If the seller just is selling not because they have to, but because they want to, then they can stick to their guns and demand even a higher price in today's market. So my job is to find out what's the reason the seller is selling. The fourth thing out of the top 15 things you should know when buying a home, what's included? Now that might seem pretty simple, but when you think about things like window blinds, refrigerator, those are things that you may walk into a house and see and say, oh, look, it comes with all these things. No, it actually doesn't, especially the refrigerator. The blinds are what we consider attached to the house, so they will come with the house, but the refrigerator may be excluded. The seller may also want to sell you the refrigerator and not just include it. So it's important to know what the seller is offering It's important to know what the seller is including in the sale of the home. Number 5 on the top 15 things that you should know before buying a home. Were there any additions? So you see a house on Zillow or your favorite realtor site, realtor.com, and it says it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath home. You get there and indeed you see 4 bedrooms and 2 baths. But in reality, that house may have been built with 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. So the important thing here is, was that an addition or is that just a room that's been converted into a bedroom? Oftentimes you'll see garages in older homes converted into bedrooms. Or you'll go to the back of a house and you'll see a room that's been added on. Now the important thing about that is, was that addition permitted? If it wasn't permitted, that can cause you a problem down the road. Number 6, the roof. It's one of the things that a lot of people don't pay attention to until they have their home inspection. Now your home inspector is not a roof inspector, okay? So your home inspector will fly a drone most times and he can tell you that, hey, the roof looks like it's older or the roof appears to have some type of hail damage or missing shingles. Now, that does not mean the roof needs to be entirely replaced. He's just going to recommend that you have a professional roofer come out, evaluate the roof, and then go from there, because it's a very costly repair. And some insurance companies, they'll look at it and say, we're not going to insure it. So it's very important that when you have your home inspection, if there's any question about the age of the roof or the roof looks to be in some type of disrepair, that you then have a professional roofer come out and give you their opinion on whether the roof needs to be replaced. Number 7 on the top 15 things you need to know before buying a home, your appliances and HVAC system. That's your heating and air conditioning system. This is Texas, of course. So that's the most important thing that we look for, is how old is the HVAC and is it running properly? That's another item that your home inspector will inspect. He's not an HVAC repair person or a qualified technician in most cases. So he is going to recommend that you have a professional HVAC company come out and inspect both your AC and your heating units, okay? So with those two units in particular, we want to be particularly careful to make sure that they are functioning properly, heating and cooling to certain temperatures. Now, if they're working, that does not mean the seller has to replace them if they're not heating to the temperature. The seller will make repairs, but that does not mean they'll have to replace them. You can also look at getting a home warranty to help cover some of the costs of replacing or repairing the HVAC or the stove, dishwasher, things of that nature. Now, all home warranties are not created equal, and that does not mean just because you have one that they will pay to have those units replaced. Number 8 of the top 15 things you should know before buying a home, and this actually applies both to buyers and sellers. How long the home has been on the market. Typically, a house doesn't sell for 3 years. Number 8 of the top 15 things you should know before buying a home. And this actually applies to both our buyers and our sellers. Now, how long the home has been on the market plays a huge factor in the buyer's eyes. If the house has been on the market for, let's say, longer than 30 days, which is extraordinary for today's market here in the DFW area, then buyers will start to wonder what's wrong with the house. Houses don't sell for one of 3 reasons: price, location, and condition. So it may be one, it could be all those. Oftentimes it's not even a condition, but a pricing matter. So price does matter. So for the sellers, make sure you price your house right. And for our buyers out there, what we do is when we find a house that's been on the market for an extended period of time, that gives us greater leverage to make an offer that's going to be lower, save you money on your mortgage, and hopefully give you greater equity on your purchase. Number 9 in the top 15 things you should know before buying a home. How much have homes in the neighborhood sold for? It's what we call comparables. What we do is we compare what other like homes. So if you're looking at a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, we're going to look at 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, plus or minus 500 square feet to the left or to the right, to determine what we should offer for the home that you're looking at. So if you're looking at a home that's $300,000, we'll look at other homes within a mile radius of that home and see what they're selling for. If they're selling for $300,000 or right under $300,000, we know the home has been priced right. If they sold for $250,000 and they're really comparable as far as condition, then we know that that house may be overpriced. So knowing the comparables only helps the buyer make an informed decision and allows us to make an offer that will be competitive to what has been selling in the neighborhood. Number 10 on the top 15 things you should know before buying a home. Safety hazards. Homes built prior to 1978 were most likely built with lead paint. Now, lead paint has been banned since 1978, and the sellers of the home are supposed to disclose if they know of any lead paint in the property. So that's one thing that we need to be aware of. Number 11 of 15 things you should know before buying a home: the insurance claim history on the property. Now, when you contact an insurer about insuring the property that you want to purchase, ask them to provide you with a copy or tell you about what's on the clue report. A clue report basically is a database that records all the claims that were made by the previous homeowner. So this way, that insurance company will know if they had made a claim for the roof or if there was some type of water damage at some point. This way, it will give you an idea of what may have happened in the past and what you may have to deal with. Number 12, top 15 things you should know before buying a home. What are the neighbors like? Now, this is a tricky one. If you were to see the homeowners, you could always ask them, hey, what are your neighbors like? That doesn't mean that they're going to be forthright and tell you that Joe next door likes to play in a band and plays at 1 o'clock in the morning practicing. They're not going to tell you that. So the best thing to do is go to the neighborhood, walk the neighborhood, maybe ring a couple of doorbells, to the left, to the right, across the street. Or if you see any neighbors out walking, Stop them, say, hey, I'm thinking about moving in. Can you tell me a little bit about the people that live here? Number 13, we're almost there, folks. 13 or 15. What is the neighborhood like overall? I always tell people, if you really want to know what a neighborhood is like, go to the neighborhood after 5. If it's in the winter, it's going to be dark. In the summer, you may want to go a little bit later, between 8 and 9. That will let you know if there's, more, the number of cars that may be parked on the street, things like that. If people are hanging out in front of their homes, you'll see a lot of different things that may happen at night or later in the day that you won't see early in the afternoon when you first go preview that home at 1 o'clock. Number 14, are there any problems with the home? Now, sellers are required to fill out a seller's disclosure, letting you, the buyer, know what they know. Now, it's a real catch to that. Let's say you're selling a home but you never lived there. You really don't know what may be wrong with the home, so you cannot put that you know something is wrong, and you may not be required to put something to fill out the disclosure if you hadn't lived there in a number of years, if it were, say, a rental. So that's why it's very important before you purchase any home that you get a home inspection. And finally, the 15th thing of the top 15 things you should know before buying a home is how much will you pay in closing costs. Now, you can get these numbers from your lender. You're getting pre-qualified. Ask your lender to provide you with all the costs that will be included, that when you go to that closing table, you don't want to be surprised to see that all of a sudden you need to bring an extra $1,000 or $2,000. So you want a detailed list of all the expenses prior to closing on that property so that you're not surprised at the closing table. And trust me, it's happened to people before. Again, thank you for checking out the video, the top 15 things you should know before buying a home. If you ever need any assistance, Google us, Baptiste Realty Group. If you're looking to move to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, give us a call. We'd love to help you. If you live in the area, we're here for you. We're located in Fort Worth, but we work the Metroplex.